what's going on, guys? So we need to make this wastegate fit on this eBay manifold. This manifold comes with the 4-bolt style flange for the wastegate. The wastegate I got uses a V-band style, so the plan is cut that off, weld the V-band flange on there. We'll be good to go. Shouldn't be a terrible job, I don't think. So I got that out. One other thing we're going to need to do is this is a pipe that goes back off the water pump, goes to the heater core. This little tube right here, we do not need. It goes to the throttle body, and we do not going to be using that on our throttle body. So I'm going to, instead of plugging that, we're going to weld that. So we're going to do that today. That should get this side all buttoned up once we get that wastegate flange mounted on there. That way we know where the wastegate's going to go. We might have to do a little bit of test fitting to see, make sure it's not going to hit anything once we throw the wastegate in there. But it should be fairly simple, I think. I want to show you guys what I did with the intake manifold. So a few of you mentioned it would be a good idea to leak test that thing just to make sure that I don't have any leaks where we did all of those welds. And I did that. So I got this little cheap smoke leak detector off Amazon. It was like 60 bucks, something like that. Tiny little thing, plugs into 12 volts. That's why I got it over here on the truck. And you can buy the leak detector oil, but I just used baby oil, and people said that worked really good, and it did, and it's cheap. It produced a ton of smoke. Let me throw it on for you. Hopefully I didn't run out of smoke while I was doing it, but I did leak test it, and I did have some leaks, but we got those fixed pretty easily. Whoops, that's right. I unplugged it. Hook that back up to the battery. Put this thing on. So it produces quite a bit of smoke. It's starting now. Hopefully it's picking up on camera. Yeah. So that produced plenty of smoke to fill that intake manifold and easily see where leaks are coming from. It also pressurizes it too, so it really makes it apparent where you got leaks. So it worked really well. I had like 3 or 4 small pinhole leaks around the runners. So we got that all done, all taken care of. I just threw some wrinkle black paint on it. So that is drying. We probably won't be able to do anything with it today, but it's ready to go. Probably throw that on tomorrow maybe. But anyways, we got to cut that flange off that manifold so we can see how easy it's gonna be to fit a V-band flange on there. Like I said, I don't think it would be terribly hard, but since it's made for this square flange, rectangle flange, whatever, 4-bolt flange, might be a little tough, but I think we can do it. So we're gonna get this little tube welded up real quick. So this, just for reference so you guys know, this goes right back here, something like that. Mounts right there where I got that bolt, which is actually something, that's the vent for the transmission. Normally you wouldn't see that on the 2J there, but that was an easy spot for me to mount it. So all we're going to do is just basically, I'm going to trim that just a little bit because it's close to that bracket, and then we'll just pinch it off and weld it. I could trim it flush, but I'm going to do it up here just in case I mess up with the welding and I got some more to work with, because you're never going to see this anyway. Now, I thought the pipe was thinner than that. I don't think we're going to have to actually pinch that off. I think we can weld it as is. Now we're going to be using a red tungsten for stainless. It seems to be, there's no right answer for everything. There's very, very differing opinions on what color tungsten to use. It seems red can be used on pretty much anything. I must have tried it when I was, I don't know, practicing at some point. I got it quite hot. We'll use this piezo, and I'll go put a tip on it real quick though, a little point, because that is not going to work as it is. All right, I did pick up this stubby glass lens kit. I had it last time when I was doing the intake manifold, but I didn't know how to get it together, and I wanted to try, just using Well, why is it not getting in there? There we go. I wanted to try using the ceramic cup kit, the ceramic cup, because that's what you normally use, and I didn't have any other. I wanted to try that first before I moved over to this, but I used it today when I fixed the couple of pinhole leaks on the intake manifold, and it worked well. It's much easier to see. I've never welded stainless or tigged stainless, and I have never tigged a tube, so good luck. Let's see what happens. Ooh, way, way, way too hot. All right, I've gotten that plugged. High chance that there's some leaks in it, so we're going to actually go try that leak detector again real quick. All right, see how this does. Maybe out of oil. It's not smoking too much. Well, smoking. Okay, I'll plug this hole here. It's pressurizing it. Yeah, I got nothing. You guys can see, if I leave that end open, you get plenty of smoke coming out. I plug that. I got nothing coming out of where I welded that, so it's actually sealed. Glad I picked this thing up. Well, I can't find what I did with this gasket here. I did get a new one, so I don't know. I don't know what I did with it. So we're just going to loosely throw this on here for now. And the big deal is that, or why I need to do this now, is because it goes below the goes below our exhaust manifold. I don't want to try to have to snake it in after, so we can get that gasket in after. Those should be fine. All right, I got that flange cut off, and see right here, pretty easy. Just trim that off real quick. And I do have a bandsaw now, so that made that way easier than using my cut off disc or anything like that. But we need to weld on this side of the V-band flange just like that. I've already test fitted this with the wastegate on the car to make sure that we have enough room, and we do, although it's very, very tight. So I'm hoping that it should be fine. But we need to tack this on here real quick so that we can then go make sure that I tacked in the right place. And I believe stainless should tack a lot better than aluminum. So I'm going to unplug my pedal. I think it'll be a little easier to tack just with the button. Well, ain't having much luck. All right, so I smartened up a little bit and threw this thing in the vise so I could get it level and not have to try and hold that ring at the same time. All right, so it's very, very hot, but yep, she's tacked in place nice and solid. I will go try it on the car real quick, and as long as it still fits, we'll get to welding. All right, so it fits, although it is tight, but we can make it work. The issue is we're going between the tension rod bracket brace there and the part that sticks out on the lower oil pan. So we don't really have any room to go anywhere else. So I guess I could go a little bit more towards the block to get a little bit more room, but not much. But I think we're good. I might tweak that tack just a little bit when I pull it back out. We got enough room for the down pipe to come, off the turbo down here, right down there somewhere, and then we can go down with the the wastegate dump somewhere. You know, because this can be clocked, maybe like that, something like that, maybe. But yeah, I think it'll do. Let's pull it back out. Well, I decided I'm happy with it, but I want to show you guys how bad the fitment is right now because of how they made the bottom of this. We got two pipes wiring into one, and then they had like another pipe kind of bent. It had a curve in it to get it at a different angle from, you know, from right here. You can see where it's welded on. The flange is on here like this. It's not exactly fitting up. So I did try heating up the pipe a little bit and hammering it out or bending it out with a pair of pliers just to get it expanded, and it wasn't working. So what I think I'm going to do is we're going to weld the inside, and it's probably not going to look very good because we got a big gap over there, but I think I can do it. And then I'm going to take it out, flip it over, and we're going to weld the bottom side, the outside that you can see right here. And then I'm going to take my die grinder with a burr bit and clean up as much as I can in here, as much as I dare to take off of, you know, these smaller diameter edges to get as much flow without taking off too much set. I think that it's gonna, you know, make the pipe too thin and crack. So I think that's the best idea. We're gonna try it and see what happens. But I figured welding the inside first, making those look bad, then I can make the outside welds look good. So anybody looks at it, you know, it looks like we did a good job. But only me and you are gonna know what it's actually like. It's honestly not welding that bad. This is so much easier than aluminum. I'm not really sure why I didn't put my other glove on. Well, I am happy with that. I mean, it's certainly not perfect, but I think it went really well. I'm happy enough with it for now, you know, for where it is, especially with how big those gaps were. But let's do the outside and then move on. Now that certainly ain't gonna win any awards for best looking weld, but it will hold. And oh my god, stainless is so much more enjoyable and easy to weld than aluminum. It's insane. It's actually fun to do. But that's plenty strong for what we need. Shouldn't have any leaks. I went back over and remelted basically some spots where I thought that there might be a pinhole leak, because we definitely don't want that. But now we're going to take a die grinder to that, clean up that inside, make it look nice and flow better than that crap. Oh yeah, one thing I wanted to mention is if you look at the welds there, some of them, they look kind of dull instead of shiny. I think I'm going too slow, putting too much heat into it, and part of that is getting access with everything. I find that I kind of hold the torch in place while I'm trying to get, you know, the filler rod in, and it causes it to just sit there with the puddle for a long time. I think that's what's doing it. So I'm really trying to work on that. But don't forget, like, I barely TIG welded, so I'm happy with where we are so far. There we go. Got that all smoothed out as good as it needs to be. I am very happy with that. Way better than it was to begin with. About as good as we're going to get. So let's make sure we blow all this crap out, though, because I don't want all those shavings potentially sitting in the runners and going through my brand new turbo. Now, I don't think I mentioned what I'm using for a wastegate. This is actually a Summit Racing wastegate, their own brand. Decently priced, I think it was like $100. Not terrible. It's a 50 millimeter. It should be plenty big enough for what we're doing. And it's actually very good construction. Like, it feels well built, solid. The wastegate, actually, it moves nice. So I'm happy with this purchase. The like name brand ones like Tile and stuff like that, they're like $400, something like that, if I remember right. So this, I was more than willing to try this and see how it goes. I'm hoping it will be fine, but we'll see. You never know. So I didn't introduce this little guy yet. I did ask in a YouTube post and Facebook, looking for name recommendations, something Datsun or car related. We debated on it. To be honest, there's some really good suggestions, but none that everybody was like, yes, we absolutely have to have that. We actually named him Rex, or his full name is Rexar. It's a World of Warcraft name, but his name is Rex. He's probably going to be out here in the garage quite often. He's a cool little French bulldog. Got him a week ago. Yeah, 8 days ago we got him. He's 4 months old. He's super cool, super calm. I think he'll be a great fit and a great garage dog. And he loves to ride in the car. I did get new manifold studs and nuts from Drift Motion. I'll throw a link down in the description, just like with everything else, for those if you want to pick some up. No idea what torque spec is. We're just going to go tight. Now, 2 of these nuts here for the turbo are real easy to get at. One is a little hard, and one looks almost impossible. We might have to pull the compressor housing off to get it. I can't get my hand in there to get the nut on. And we're going to have to pull the compressor housing off anyway to weld on that elbow, so it won't be a big deal if we have to. This is when having a V-band flange would have been a lot easier. Yeah. I'm going to pull the compressor housing off. I cannot get that. Gives me a little more room, but to be honest, it's still hard to get in there. I ended up taking the whole center section of the turbo out just to get at this nut. But then it's real easy to get at. All right, got our intake manifold all ready to go. We're going to throw this thing on real quick. I already threw some of the other accessories on, throttle cable bracket. And this plate here is for the idle air control valve. We're going to have to weld on a 10AN fitting on that, because what I've got for idle air control valve, we are not using the Toyota idle air control valve because they're insanely expensive, like $1,000. So we got this little kit here from Drift Motion. I believe it's a Ford idle air control valve. You can mount this wherever you want, and you just have a 10AN line that runs from intake manifold to this. This is what I set up our Wiring Specialties harness to use because it's way cheaper. So at some point, I'll just pop this little plate off and weld on a 10AN fitting. Shouldn't be a big deal. We'll have to get some line and stuff. Other than that, oh, the finish on here, the wrinkle finish, because we went with that. I did get some runs, which is unfortunate, but it's not too big of a deal because remember the plan is eventually to powder coat this or re-powder coat it. So I had never used this wrinkle paint before, but it says that you want to go heavy you want to go heavy with your coats, so you get the wrinkle reaction. And apparently you don't want to go as heavy as I did on the first coat. That's what caused the runs. Go kind of light-ish with the first coat, and then heavy with the next 2 coats. But anyways, it'll be fine for now. Let's go throw it on the car real quick. And the throttle body uses an O-ring, so we'll stick that on. For some reason, they also sent a paper gasket. Where is it? I don't know why, but they sent a paper gasket also. Let me try that. Does it go over the O-ring? No, that would go like right on top of the O-ring, so no, we definitely ain't using that. All right, we're going to throw our fuel rail on. It mounts to these standoffs here, and I'm going to put some blue Loctite on the threads because I do not want to have to worry about the fuel rail loosening up and causing a fire. So what I've done is I've threaded a bolt in here so that we can tighten them down good, and we'll take the bolt back out after. There we go. And I'll probably let that thread locker set up a little bit, and then we'll take those bolts out. All right, so let's throw our injectors in. And I have gone with Injector Dynamics 1050s. These should be plenty of fuel for what we need. And they're 60 millimeter length. I'll throw the part number down, as usual in the video description in case you guys are using this intake manifold. But this uses 14 millimeter bottoms, 14 millimeter tops, and I actually had an issue with that. So I bought, and I thought these were going to be right, injectors with 11 millimeter tops, because the GE uses 11 millimeter tops, I believe. And these were actually an open box special, so I got a deal on them. Luckily, you can swap the tops out. You just pop off this metal O-ring, the top pops off, you pop on the new one, and you're good to go. So now I've got them with 14 millimeter bottoms, 14 millimeter tops. Apparently the GTE uses 14 millimeter tops, I believe. But either way, it's easy enough to swap them out. And we'll just spray a little bit of silicone lube on them and pop them in. This is what I'm using, by the way. I'm doing it off camera so I don't accidentally spray it on my intake manifold, but it's just Napa silicone spray. Then it just uses these little brackets that go on here. Let's see if we can get that in there. And then they bolt 2 more bolts down to those standoffs. Now on these bolts right here, that bolt to that 90-degree bracket, I did put some Loctite on them because you can't get a lock washer in there or anything. And then the bolts under here that go on the standoffs, I put a lock washer because these might need to come back out. That should be good. Alright guys, well I think that's about going to do it for this one. We got quite a bit of progress done. The intake manifold is bolted in where it's going to stay. The exhaust manifold and turbo are bolted in where they're going to stay. We got that wastegate bolted in, the flange mounted on there, and yeah, pretty good weekend worth of work. So a couple things I got to do. I need to figure out what I'm going to do for a throttle cable, because this had weird throttle linkage. It had a whole bracket on the firewall that I cut off because I knew I wasn't going to use it. So we got to figure out what we need. It's a relatively short cable just to come off that gas pedal in there, just come basically straight out here. So I got to do some measuring. I'll find one. I'm probably I got to do the turbo drain line and feed line. I don't know, maybe I'll do that in a video. But yeah, so let me know what you guys think. These injector top hats, so that purple's really nice. Wondering if maybe we want to go purple with the valve covers to match that. I don't know, it's a really nice colored purple. I wasn't really leaning that way, but it does look really good with the black. So I don't know. Anyways, we're definitely making progress. We got some good stuff coming up. Next video, I think we're going to do the wiring harness. We'll see. But come back for that one. Leave me some comments. Like the video. Subscribe if you haven't. Check out the merch shop. Link will be down below with everything else. All the other stuff that I used in the video. You can pick up t-shirts and stuff like that there if you want. It's getting colder out now, so it'd be a good time to pick up a sweatshirt. That's about it. I'll see you guys in the next video.